In 2003, I gave birth to my second child. That was Andrew. And during that time, it was a time of great joy in my home, but also a time of stress. As a mom, I was taking care of two little kids, and I was also, married, in a relationship. I was taking care of my home. I was working part-time. And I realized during that time in my life that there was this undercurrent of little stress that I couldn't quite get away from. And that was a first for me. Now, I was a churchgoer at that time, and I had heard a lot about meditation, but I had never been a person that did any meditation. And I thought, well, I've heard that this helps relieve stress, so I'm going to give it a shot. That's when I started my meditation practice 15 years ago. And I tell you, it really has been something that has been an important part of my life. I will share that most times I'm in that space of what I call the silence, that it's a peaceful place of no thought and just relaxing in a deep, deep way. Occasionally there are times when I get what I would call insights, intuitive knowledge that comes through. And I can't say it's a whole lot of times that happens, but when it is, it's really big. And so I wanted to share a little bit about that with you today. One of those experiences is when I heard intuitively, I heard this message. It was, Shawn, get in your body, get grounded, and get connected to spirit. And I was like, well, I'm sitting here meditating, so aren't I connected to spirit? And yet, I knew that this was important, so I needed to take some time to reflect on this intuitive message that came through me. And so sharing today is a little bit about that journey of discovery and what I've learned. So the first message was, get in your body. I had to think about that. I'm here in my body. It looks like I am. And yet, I went back to some of my early teachings about the chakra system from Carolyn Mace. I don't know if you all are familiar with her work. She wrote a fabulous book called Anatomy of the Spirit. And I don't want to go into all the chakras today, but I want to explain a little bit about the lower end chakras and the higher end chakras and how that helped me in connecting and feeling like I was getting in my body. So let's start with the chakra system. Again, this is just the overall map, and the idea is that there are energy channels in our body, and there's energy that comes from the earth, and the energy can move up our body and help us connect to spirit. The lower end ones are the bottom three, the root, the sacral, and the solar. And these are connected to, our basic needs: food, clothing, shelter. The pleasure center is about relationships, mom and dad, partner that you may have. And then the third one is more, solar plexus is more here. It's self-confidence and self-esteem. Now, this is kind of our journey of becoming as a human. This is the ego part of us, and it's about how we respond, or hopefully we respond. Sometimes we react in the world, but it's how we respond in the world. And then the next space is just the heart center. I kept this in and of itself. It's right in the middle. This is about love and compassion. Won't talk about that much today, but know that when you hit this space, you're really beginning to step into spirit. And then the next part is the higher chakras, the throat chakra, the third eye, and then the crown. And this is where we really are being, with a capital B, being in spirit and working from our higher energies. This is about self-expression, divine purpose, and even knowing our path and following it. Now, the interesting thing for me in terms of getting into my body that I've observed over the years is that we have to be willing to be in both different spaces of the chakras. We need to be able to live both down here low, and we also need to be able to live up here high. Something that often happens in unity that I see is that people want to be up here in these spiritual realms all the time, and they don't want to go back down into these lower energies. And I'm here to tell you folks that the spiritual journey, the mature spiritual journey, is being willing to go back to some of those core issues in our life. Sometimes if we feel financial lack, they're down here in the low center. If we're having self-confidence issues, they're down here. If we're in a relationship and we're having problems there, we may need to go back to early times in our life and reflect on those areas. I even have a practice called breath work that helps me access those areas. I also think it's important to note that, when people are, we hear about people that are doing drugs and alcohol, and there's sort of a level of disassociation that is associated with that. We can do the same thing in unity if we're all about being way up here, and we'll take time to come back down here. Okay, do you hear that? It's really important. And I've noticed over the years, especially my women friends have said, I did this work in my 20s, and now I did this work in my 30s, and now I'm back in my 40s, I'm doing this work again. Well, honor yourself. Celebrate. You see, life is a spiral, and it keeps moving up and up and up. And when each time you're revisiting an issue, it's another opportunity to heal. So I wanted to talk a lot today about the root chakra. That's the one at the very base. And you'll notice that I brought the great big singing bowl that you've had in the back of the church. This is a beauty, you all. Somebody in this church knew the significance of this root chakra and how important it is to have that sound that exists, that connects us with earth. So I brought it up here to play with it a bit. And let's give it a shot if you all be quiet. So the root chakra, just for awareness, is about food, clothing, and shelter issues. It's very low. It's like the base of the spine. Survival issues. It connects to our bones, our teeth, our legs, and especially our feet. So. Can you feel that vibration, very low end? If you want to close your eyes, feel free to do that. So Carolyn Mace tells us when the root is in balance, it's about being physically secure. It's about being part of the group without being needy or dominant. It's about confidence, to trust your own instincts and to follow your destiny. Can you tap into any of those energies that exist within your own body and seeing if any one of those needs your attention? And then Carolyn Mace also says there's a sacred truth about this chakra, and that is that we're all one. I am connected to all of life. Every choice I make and every belief I hold exerts influence upon the whole of life. So breathe. Could you feel that root chakra space within your body? I certainly could. Of course, I was up here close to the pole. But we'll be playing more with the singing bowls here in this church. It's an energy that I really love. I think it's important because even the sound can help clear the energy that exists with our body and then allows that energy to rise. So the next area that I wanted to talk about, or that I really heard, was perhaps the most significant to me, which was about getting grounded. And there's a new term for that today, which is actually called earthing. This is the buzzword. Have everybody heard about earthing now? This is the new buzzword, and all the studies are coming out about this. For 20 years we've been talking about grounding. Now it's called earthing. And this is about being in contact with Earth's natural surface charge, so we get to go barefoot and connect with the Earth. Earthing naturally discharges and prevents chronic inflammation in the body. So I want to talk about the history of this and why this is so important. This is key. In 1945, the way that we made shoes in our country changed. It was the Industrial Revolution. We used to make shoes based out of leather. Leather, natural canvas, fibers. And then in 1945, everything started to be made. Our shoes were made out of plastic and synthetics. This is really important, you all. We're no longer connecting to Mother Earth like we used to. Doctors are taking note of this. So inflammation has become the central health issue of our time. Look at the number of peer-reviewed studies. From 1967, there were 1,000 of them. And by 2012, 28,000 peer-reviewed studies. That ought to get your attention. Inflammation is connected to all Inflammation is connected to all kinds of disease that we see in the world. Everything from heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, food allergies, chronic fatigue. And the bottom line connected to this is that inflammation is creating some kind of electron deficiency. So it's important for us to note that earthing can restore and maintain the body's most natural electrical state, which in turn promotes optimum health and functionality in daily life. The natural energy emanating from the earth is the anti-inflammatory and the anti-aging medicine. Now, I'm past middle age here, and I'm thinking, that sounds pretty good to me. I don't know about you, as simple as putting my feet on the ground. And when I first heard about this, I thought about all the times that I had been completely rejuvenated by being out on the beach. I love the ocean, I love the water. You know, I can go sit on the beach for 3 or 4 days. I always thought it was the sun that was creating all that energy and connection for me. It was really the fact that I was connected to the water and the sand that was creating that shift within my body. There are doctors that are saying earthing ranks right up there with the discovery of penicillin. So the physical side effects: rapid reduction of inflammation, rapid reduction or elimination of chronic pain, dynamic blood flow improvement to better supply the cells and tissues of the body with vital oxygen and nutrition. It reduces stress. Do you hear that? Just getting in contact with the earth will reduce stress. It increases energy, improves sleep, accelerated healing from injuries and surgery, and increased even fertility and functioning of the reproductive system. And some of the research that they've done on this, there's even a man who in Alaska who was in a wheelchair for like 30 years. After sleeping grounded for 3 months, he was able to move his feet. And after sleeping that way for a year, he was starting to walk again. That's how significant this potentially could be. I'm also of the opinion that it's quite possible. I talk with a lot of people that are experiencing anxiety and depression, and even, there's an addiction element too that is big in our society right now. I'm just questioning, is it possible that some of that could get its start just from not having had that energy connection with the earth that we need? I think it's a possibility. I don't really know. So what do? Earthing is about getting outside and getting our feet in contact with the ground. There are all kinds of different ways to do this. The actual charge happens through grass, gravel, dirt, sand, cement, concrete, and our waters, lakes, oceans. And our foot is so sensitive, we need to realize that the sole of our foot is richly covered with some 1,300 nerve endings per square inch. Now, this has created a whole new industry. I'm not affiliated with any of these people that are doing this, but I think it's quite interesting that they are now making earthing shoes. They're going back to the old fiber sandals that we used to make. And you see the flip-flops up here. This is by a company called Plugs. And there's little circles in the middle of the sandal that are helping. They're specially made for earthing so that you can wear your flip-flops and still be in contact with the earth. There's also a way to be earthing inside. And I'll share with you, this is a little bit controversial. So you may want to get online and do your own research about it. But this is bearskin contact with special conductive sheets and mats that are connected to a ground plug. And I brought one of those with me. I've been playing with this for over a year. And I will share with you, all this is a mat. When I was writing this talk, I was in my office, and I had this laying on the ground. And this little end is plugged in. You have to have a grounded wall socket in your house, and there's a little tester that comes with it, and you plug it in. And then this plugs into the third hole, the ground hole, the bottom one. And as I mentioned, I've been playing with this for quite a while. I think it's significant. I didn't have any sleeping problems, but I definitely think that I'm sleeping much deeper and better than I used to, and I definitely have more energy after playing with this than I have in a while. So I'll continue to play, and I'm still reading, hearing about all the health benefits. There's lots of testimonials. A teenager said that it cured their teenage acne by sleeping with an earthing pillow. Women have said that it reduces hot flashes. Digestion is improved in people. And some people have said they even stopped snoring. And their pain is gone. Probably most significantly, their pain is gone just by being in contact. Studies are showing that it takes as little as 20 minutes a day. So if you want to start this practice, as little as 20 minutes a day to see some kind of effect within your own health. It's improving energy, pain, stress, mood, complexion, circulation, and flexibility. Thich Nhat Hanh who was a Buddhist monk, said, "Walk as if you were kissing the earth with your feet." Do you hear the sacredness of that? It's as though he knew that there's this sacred relationship, between Mother Earth and between our body, and that we need to respect that and honor that at all times. Now, the next part of the thing that I heard when I was meditating was, okay, connect to spirit. I'm like, okay, well, I do feel like I'm doing quite a lot of work to connect with spirit, but something that came up for me around this is in the old days, I think when people considered themselves spiritual, all they did was they went to church. It's like, okay, I go to church, so I'm spiritual. These days, I think it's much, much different. If we're going to connect with spirit, then most people today that are really serious about their spiritual growth have some kind of practice. We're all practicing. And I picked out a few of my favorites that I've noticed. I mentioned earlier, meditation has been a big key for me. And I highly recommend that if you don't have a current practice, start with 5 minutes a day. That's how I started. Anybody can do that. 5 minutes a day, same space in your house. Create a little sacred space. And just sit there and breathe and listen to your breath. That's the start. After a week or two, add 5 more minutes. And then keep adding to it. That's how I started, and I was up to 30 minutes fairly quickly and effortlessly. Robin Golf also has a guided meditation that she offers here the first Wednesday of each month. If you've not experienced that, you need to come. It is fabulous. She has a gift for guided meditation, and I really think, and when I sat in it with the group, there's like a vibration that's created that is wonderfully healing as well. Another area that I think that I'm seeing a lot of my friends practicing with is yoga. I've noticed as I've been doing my meditation practice, and I have friends that don't meditate, but they do yoga, I'm seeing some of the same things within them, spiritual benefits as well as physical benefits, that I think are very important. And I have a belief from what I've witnessed that the yoga poses clear the chakra centers within the body, so that's helping people keep more aligned. And then the third one I'll bring up is close to home for me. I think it's nature. I've noticed within my husband and my youngest son, Andrew, that they are completely tuned in and energized when they are out in nature. And it's not just about the ground, it's a spiritual experience for them. My husband took this picture in New Mexico a couple summers ago, 12,000 feet up on top of Mount Baldy. And my son and he and my son had hiked for over 85 miles for a scouting badge. But again, when they came home, there was this euphoric space around what they had experienced, and they talked about their hiking all day long. It's like, this is a spiritual practice. So as I close today, I want to mention or just acknowledge that I'm talking about how important it is that we get in touch with this lower energy root chakra within our body. Not only that, but that we are conscious of how often our feet are getting in contact with the ground. If you do this 20-minute practice every day, I'm guaranteeing you within 30 days you're going to feel an improvement in your health. And not only that, but by being conscious about what you're doing in that sector of your body, you're opening up. Energy flows from Mother Earth up through your body and out through the crown chakra, and that's how we grow spiritually. So I'm encouraging each of you to get grounded in spirit. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that wonderful message. And I just want to say about this song, there's a Hindu prayer called the Mulu Mantra, and I'll be singing that, so if you don't understand the Sanskrit words, that's why. Om Holy, Om Holy, Om Holy, Om Holy, Holy Mother, can you hear me? My soul's calling for you now. Holy Mother, can you hear me? My soul's calling for you now. Take my rapid in love. Fill me with the strength to rise above. Holy Mother, can you hear me? My soul's calling for you now. Holy Mother, can you hear me? My soul's calling for you now. Guide my way through the dark. Give me light. Unveil my heart. Hold my tears for all that they're worth. Then let them return to Mother Earth. Holy Mother, can you hear me? My soul's calling for you now. Holy Mother, can you hear me? My soul's calling for you now. Om Sagit Ananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Sameta Shri Bhagavate Namaha.
Please join with me in meditation. Sweet Spirit, Holy Mother, we open to that energy of the earth. We see ourselves divinely connected. Through the base of our spine,